Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. So this week we're gonna do something different. We're gonna make this tutorial short, and the patrons voted on having me show you guys how I use my primary colors to blend my own shades. So here's the primary colors that I use for my paintings. I use carbon black, and these are heavy golden acrylics. These are high quality paints. You can use, basics, a brand that is called Basics. They're a bit more on a cheaper end. It's a good way to start off. If you're just beginning, if you're a beginner painter, you probably don't want to use the high quality paint yet. I would first practice with the cheaper paint. Once you learn how to mix your shades, you're feeling more confident, then you can start experimenting with more higher end paint like this. So what I use is carbon black right here, titanium white, naphtha red light, cadmium yellow medium hue, and ultramarine blue. So with these colors you can mix a whole bunch of awesome different kind of shades you'd like. And maybe not every shade. Sometimes you need to switch it up, like if you need a different shade of blue, because this ultramarine blue has this like a purplish almost shade to it. Like I would say it has maybe a little bit of red in it to make it look like a beautiful night sky. So this is amazing to use when you're painting for nightscapes and sunsets. I love using ultramarine blue. I would highly encourage you to experiment with primary colors and mix your own shades, because it's easy to just go ahead and buy the orange or the pink pre-mixed colors that the stores sell you, and they're amazing, and sometimes it's fun to use them, but I would definitely recommend you guys to experiment and mix your own shades, because that's how you grow, and that's how you know, like when you look at a picture and you're trying to recreate, you know the shades and how you mix the shades the way you want them to be. You already know, it's like it's stored in your brain because you had the experience of mixing it, But if you just buy it from the store and go the easy route, then you might not know how that color came to be. I would like to remind you that you can get different kind of shades of blue, like I said, red, yellow, you can get different kind of shades and experiment with them. But highly recommend doing the primary colors and playing around with them. Since we were talking about the blue, let's start with ultramarine blue. And what I got here, I have this palette here, and I'm going to use a flat 1/2 inch brush right here to kind of show you the colors on this canvas it gives me. So what I got here is just ultramarine blue, and they're pretty much thumbnail, same size on all of them. And then a little bit of, I have here next to it, a little bit of carbon black, red, naphtha red light, cadmium yellow, and then just white, titanium white. And so first, I'm gonna, dab my brush in a water jar here, and then just grab my ultramarine blue straight off the tube, and let's see the color it gives me. So what we're gonna do is just gonna add it right here in a corner. That's the straight off from the tube. It gives me this beautiful, beautiful blue right here. And I don't know if you could see it on the camera, but and if you're using a different brand ultramarine blue, that's fine too. Whatever brand you have, go ahead and use it. If your shade's a bit, darker or lighter, that's fine, because sometimes I would buy ultramarine blue and I notice sometimes it could be a shade lighter than my previous ultramarine blue, so sometimes machine makes the paint a little different color, and that's fine. It makes your paint, painting unique. So I'm gonna clean my brushes, my brush, so I can have a clean brush. And then what I'm gonna do next is mix just the black, okay? Black and blue right here. And that's gonna give me a very, 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 I like to use this color as my, kind of like my darkest color of the sky. So when I mix, when you want like to add stars, this is a perfect color to have. You could see it's very dark, but you see that blue, and that blue is amazing. I mean, on the camera you can't like capture. So I'm gonna dry my brush, but like honestly, you could see that dark, dark blue shade, and I'm gonna put it right next to it, and that works really, really nice with the sky. So when I paint my sky, I start, have the dark here and blend it in with my ultramarine blue straight off the tube, and these two, like, let's blend it real quick, and these two kind of blend in nicely together. So I'm gonna grab more of this color and just blend it in. And I would use my fluffy brush to blend these colors in, right? But so that would be my transition for the sky. And then next, what I did was I added a little bit of white, right? A little bit of white. I'm gonna grab just a tiny bit, mix it with this. Okay, it almost will give me this like bluish gray color. This color is really good when you're painting like mountains. I like to use this color when it's far behind. It gives you like this gray, bluish gray color. And if you want more, you obviously can grab more and mix it, play around with it. It depends how much you want, but see what colors it gives you. Always practice and test. And this turned out to be gray, as you could see, but it has that hint of blue in it. And what I do is sometimes I look at it and I'm gonna clean my brush. And you could do so much with just a few colors. I'm gonna put it right next to this one. It has this beautiful gray, but it has this shade of blue. It almost also will really good shade for clouds. When you have gray clouds, this color is amazing. So if I add, and I play around, and what I do is when I get a color, I start off with a little bit of paint and I play around, add either more blue or more white. And with white and black and blue, you could, create so many different shades. So I added more ultramarine blue here, and I'm gonna mix it with this. And that'll give me a gray color, but it'll be a bluer color. Okay. So I'm gonna clean my brush, and I'm using just one brush, so I'm gonna grab this color and put it right next to this. See? It gave me this beautiful shade. And if I added a little bit of yellow here, it almost would like give me a beautiful, like almost like a turquoise color or greenish color. So for fun, I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow. And this is where you play around. You add like just a teeny bit of either red or yellow or whatever whatever you'd like. So you see I added a little bit of yellow, and I'm gonna grab that, mix it with this. Let's add more white and see if it could give us a lighter color. So I have this color and I'm just gonna add white. And right now I'm just playing around with these colors. So with the green, it gave you this beautiful, awesome, like almost like a turquoise color, but not there yet because you would need to add more blue. And I'm adding a little bit. And whenever you're mixing colors, always add a teeny bit, like maybe a nail, so that because once you start mixing different kind of shades and colors into your paint, then the paint becomes, you would have more and more paint in your palette. right there. See that beautiful blue color? It's like a turquoise color right there. So grab that. Oops. Forgot to clean my brush. So I'm gonna clean it, dry it out. So this color would be also good for clouds, or even water too. Right there, it's almost like similar to this, but it has this like green shade to it because we added a little bit of yellow. And as you could see, it's becoming more turquoise. And we're getting to that color, and the turquoise color. And since we're heading that way, why don't we go ahead and do this color first and see where it takes us, okay? So now what I got here is just Ultramarine Blue and yellow, and I'm gonna mix that with a little bit of yellow. I'm not gonna take all of it. First I'm gonna see what color it gives me. It should give me a green color. Let's put that down first, just straight off from the tube. Straight from the tube, that will give me a green shade, and I'm gonna put it right next to it. Next to, on the bottom I mean. So Ultramarine Blue and a green color, or yellow, and that gives me this beautiful green shade, but it's leaning more towards blue. And now I can either add, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add more yellow to make it a little more greener, because this color is really good when you're drawing depth, like when you're drawing trees far behind, you see it's more like neutral colors, and these are very neutral colors here, except this ultramarine straight up from the tube, as you can see. But this color is really good when you have, when I mixed, it's pretty much the same, I used the same amount. But now I added more yellow, and it'll give me more of the green color, as you could see. And I have no plan, so I kind of know what color it would give me. But sometimes I mess around like what I did here in the beginning, and just seeing what color it gives me. So I'm learning as we go as well. Always learning, because there's so many shades you can create. So here we are. This is with a little bit of more yellow. And I'm gonna add more yellow. You can see that green, it's becoming brighter. That means that color, that's really awesome to use, like as things get closer, more colorful things get, you could see more color. So I added more, the same amount of yellow, and I'm gonna mix it now with the same here. And it should give me even a lighter color. So clean my brush real quick. Right here. And that should give me even a lighter green. Right there. And of course, the more you add, now I'm gonna just add yellow, and just what I'm gonna do is, and I'm not gonna mix it with everything, but I'm gonna grab this green shade and just mix it with this yellow that we have here, because I want this to be very, very like, almost like yellow, but has a little bit of green, because that will be our lightest color, right? So I'll clean my brush and grab this shade, and as you could see, beautiful green, light green color. And what's cool is now with this you can add titanium white and even make it even lighter. So what I'm gonna do is add titanium white and a little bit of more yellow. And this is almost like mixing just just white and yellow. So I'm going to just grab a little bit of this, kind of the same idea how we did with this. Just grab a little bit of this and bring a little bit of that green and mix it here with your white. And that will give you, you know, this lighter, the lightest, you know, green shade. But it's not yellow. Grab that. Right there. And I like to use this color, this right here. How I mix this green, just using ultramarine blue and yellow, and going from just yellow and blue, you know, the colors to how I mixed here, all the way to my adding white. And that gave me this color, and I used this color for my highlights. At the end, when I add details on the branches and trees and you know, wherever the sunlight is hitting, I use this color to add my highlights, and it really makes the painting pop out. So another way you can get to a green color is just simply using, let's say if you run out of blue, I use just, it's carbon black and yellow. And of course I would recommend you using the blue to make your, and yellow to make your green shade, but this also gives you a green shade. But it turns out more on a neutral side. So let's use the carbon black and yellow here. That'll give us a very, very dark green. This dark green is really good for your like almost like a shade of, when I add my trees, I just use when they're up close, I just use this, just yellow and black, and then when I add, you know, before I add my highlights, I add the dark, and then I add the highlights on top. So here, so that's like a very, very dark green. You can't see it on the camera, but it's there. And so now we're gonna mix and grab a little bit of this. I'm gonna clean my brush. So you could see that it's also green, but it has that, it doesn't have that bluish shade to it. It's more like, I would say it's more like brownish shade if you mix it with the black. And then of course you add more yellow, and you can see the little different shades, but I'm just telling you right away that it will give you more of the neutral green. It's again, it's whatever you want to paint. So I'm just gonna quickly put it there. More yellow and a little bit of white. I'm gonna do that real quick for you guys, just because I already started, and I think it's important for you guys to see the two different kind of shades. Now, it might be a little bit difficult for you guys to see. There is a change going on, and really the change, like I said, the change is that this is turning out more like brownish green, and this is more bluish green. You know, it's whatever you are painting. So I grab this yellow and I mix it a little bit with my black here, this shade right here. You know, same technique, same idea. So I'm gonna grab my shade here, and they're almost the same, as you can see, almost the same, but honestly they're still different. So I'm gonna grab white and this shade. When I run out of blue, I would go into mixing with black. And sometimes you can add a little bit of black to your ultramarine blue to make a darker shade, you know? So right there, very similar, but again, that's the difference. And experiment yourself. See the different kind of shading you can get out of using black versus ultramarine blue to make the green shades. But that's what I noticed when I mix, is that this gives me more of a like a brownish neutral color, and then this gives me a nice shade of blue color in my green. And I prefer this one, honestly. Okay, so now let's do straight off the tube, the red and the blue, ultramarine blue. And I'm gonna mix these, and that should give me, I'm gonna put it right here, that should give me a dark, like purple color. Very dark. Also a beautiful color to add to your sky. So I'm gonna mix that. And it depends what you add more of. See, I added more of the ultramarine blue in my palette and a little bit of red. But if I added more red and less ultramarine blue, it would give me a shade of like a darker shade of red instead of the blue, you know what I mean? So experiment, see what shade you'd like, but this is the, I'll put it right here. Also, see this purple color? Beautiful color. Also, I use this often in my skies. Right there. And then I'm gonna add a little more red and see if I can make it even more reddish, like I said earlier about whatever color you put down first. So I just mix that. So that gives me like a darker cherry color when you add red and ultramarine blue, but if you add more red, that'll give you a cherry color right there. So that'll give you a very dark color. You can see that. Two shades. You can see this one's a bit more darker. And of course you could add white to this and make it look like a cherry color going into this pinkish color here if we just added white. But I'm gonna go back to this color, this purple color that we have. So I added more ultramarine blue, and I'm gonna grab this red here. I'm not gonna let it go to waste, just a little bit, and go back to this color that we had here. And mix that red. A little more right there. And what I'm gonna do is add white. So white is very, very important to have in your palette because white is the thing that brings out, like gives good shading. So as you could see, this is giving me this purple color. This is really beautiful for the skies. This purple color, you could see it's different than this. This is more adding black, and if you mess around with a little bit of yellow and how we did the first here, ultramarine blue and black, you can either have it gray, you know, going into gray with a little bit of hint of blue, and going into this turquoise color. And I could have gone on more mixing white and a little bit of green, and that would give me more towards the turquoise color. But this is giving me more towards the purple color because we're adding red now. So I'm gonna add a little bit of more white, mix it, and that will give us a shade lighter. Just cleaning my brush so I won't carry the old paint. And then here, as you can see, we're starting to go lighter purple. And then I'm just gonna mix it with my brush here. Instead of getting more white, I'm just gonna mix it. Sometimes I do that, and I just mix it like this, swirl it, and get it on my brush, and get a lighter white color right here. And then you can obviously have even a lighter color. And yeah, with white you can go all the way as light as you want. This is good for the skies when you have a nice beautiful sunset that the reds are hitting, the oranges are hitting the sky. I would recommend you guys using this shade for the sky. But if you want it to be cold looking, very cold, and like more of like a winter scene, these shades right here with this is really good for that. And of course you can just use ultramarine blue and white. And because ultramarine blue it has the shade of I'll show you, just straight off the tube, just ultramarine blue and white. It has a shade of the red in it already. That's what it looks like to me. But this is how it looks like straight off the tube. I'm just gonna put it right next to it so you guys can tell. But it's still pretty blue, you know, very blue, very. These colors are, when you mix a lot of different kind of colors, it becomes more neutral. But when you just use one color to mix with the other, it will be more vibrant. Of course, if you use it straight off the tube, the paints, it'll be very vibrant. So as you can see right there. Since we're slowly transitioning to red, I'm gonna go ahead and get my red here, just straight off the tube, and mix it and just put it down right in here. So why I like this color? Because it's very vibrant and very bright, this red. And there's different shades of red that you can experiment with, but I really like using this because when I add yellow to it, it gives me a beautiful like orange transition. And it, you know, and actually we're gonna do that right now. So I have this red and I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow. So right here, and I'm gonna just grab just red and yellow, and it'll give me a very, very dark orange. You see that right there? And then I'm gonna add a little more orange, or I mean yellow, right here. And then I'm gonna grab this color, mix it with my yellow here, and that should give me a lighter orange. I'm not using white yet. I usually use white towards, like, as I get closer out here, I like to use white. But I try to use primary colors first, so you could see the colors are more vibrant when you, because white makes it kind of neutral, you know. But if you use the colors you got here first to make your lighter shades, you will really get beautiful, vibrant paintings. So I'm gonna add a little more yellow and just grab a teeny bit of this orange and mix it with my yellow here. And that'll give me a bright orange color. Right there. And I'm carrying a little bit of the paint from when I mix, because if you grab all of this orange and mix it with the yellow you just put, it'll give you a slightly different, you know, shade. Like slightly, unless that's what you want. But in order to get a little more brighter, you just have to a little bit, like grab a little bit of it, mix it with the yellow to get that shade. So you could see a lighter shade right there. And this is where I add my white. So now I'm gonna put more yellow and a little bit of white. This is where I start to do that, and I'm going to carry this orange color here with my white, and that will be my brightest orange color, beautiful peachy color. Clean up my brush and grab this color. Right there. And you can obviously even go further with this, since I have that little space there. So let's just go ahead and do that. So now I'm gonna grab this color right here, just a little bit of this light orange color, and mix it with my white, just pure white. You know, make sure your palette knife is clean. I usually use the paper towels to kind of quickly wipe my palette knife. So I won't carry, unless if I don't mind having a little bit of that color, previous color, move to my paint. So I'm gonna grab this last color and put it in here. And it really is a beautiful lightest orange color there. So let's make a pink shade. So now I'm just using, I'm not gonna put in straight out of the tube the red color here. I'm gonna go ahead and immediately start putting my shades. So, because you guys already seen the color of this red. So now I just got this red and a little bit of white, a little bit, because I want it to be like hot pink. Right there, I like that. I just added a little bit of white into my red, and that gave me like this beautiful hot pink color. Right there. And now I'm just gonna add my white. And this is simple. You guys, most of you guys know how to make pink color, of course. And so now I'm gonna grab this, mix it with my white, and that'll give me a lighter pink. And add a little bit of more white, and the same idea right there. Grab it and mix it. Play around, see, you know, mix it, see if you need to add more red or more white to make it lighter. You know, you get the idea. You just mix, and also I want to mention that that once you lay down the paint on your canvas, once it dries, it actually becomes a little bit darker than it is. So once you put the paint, it looks pretty light. But once it's fully dry, it becomes a little shade darker. Just keep that in mind. That's what acrylics does. I don't know if all acrylics do that, but or all paints do that. But I know that from experience with acrylics that they tend to do that. So if you just keep that in mind when you mix color and you think that you need to add, when you add a shade and you think, just keep that in mind that it's going to get a little bit darker. So I gotta have more white. And clean up my brush. Right there. And then a little bit of more. So I added 2 little whites here, and then just bring that color, mix it with my white here, and then my lightest will be, I'm just gonna grab a little bit of it. I'm not even gonna touch much of it. And that gives me a very, very light pink color. You can go as light as you want, but this color is a specific color. Sometimes you see pink in the sky, a lot of times actually. And then my lightest here, almost white color. You can't see it, but it has that beautiful shade. So here you go, that's how you make pink. And then of course, this is cool because you can have this, and then let's say you wanted to make it like, remember when I mentioned like peachy color? When you add a little bit, and I'll show you real quick. We're not gonna do a line here, but I'll show you what you can do by adding a little bit of, so there's yellow right there, and I'm gonna grab like this leftover pink here and mix it here with my pink. Yellow with my pink gives me a beautiful peachy color. Also very beautiful shade to use on your skies and on your water as well. So here it is. I'll just put it in between right here because that's where these are the colors I used. This pink and a little bit of yellow. You could see the transition here. Slightly different right there. You know, this peach, and then you can add more white or yellow to make your shade of peach color that you'd like. Now you can do what I did here with the red, just mixing with the white. That gave me this shade. You can use the same technique, same idea with any other primary colors, like for example this blue, and just add white. It'll give you, you know, this shade of blue, and all the way going into white. And you could do that with all the primary colors that I showed. And black, if you start off with black and adding white, that'll give you gray color. I'm not gonna do that here because you guys know how to do that. Just black, that same idea here with the black going into the lighter white gray color. But I wanted to show you guys here what all these primary colors, and I added the same equally, black, red, blue, and yellow. I'm gonna mix them and see what it gives me, okay? So this should give you a brownish color, okay? That should give you a brownish color. So you could see. So when you mix all your primary colors and black, except white, I didn't add white, that will give you a very dark brown color. Now there's this thing where people like to use, it's called burnt umber, and you can use that as like just water, and that color, burnt umber, what that does is it's very good to use for the base to sketch out your, you know, sketch out your shadows where you, or the, you know, get the canvas covered. You could do that. I used to do that, but I've gotten to a point where I don't need to. I just paint thick and I add a whole bunch of layers where I just keep adding more color and color on top of each other, and it works well for me. But here's this color, very, very dark brown. Okay, right there. Now I'm gonna add, I'm just gonna keep adding more of the primary colors, but make less of the darker colors. So for example, I'll show you on the palette once I'm done putting it. I'll show you what I mean. So this is what I mean. So I've got right here, so I've got more yellow, a little bit less red and also a little bit of less blue, but more yellow. And I'm just gonna grab, I'm not gonna grab everything, but just a teeny bit like this, and put it right here, and grab that red and a little bit of this blue, mix it. And I could use white, but white would give me more of a gray color. So that's why I'm adding colors first to make it brighter. Because red and blue are dark, as you could see. These are just using the red and blue, right? So that's why I'm trying to stick with my colors there. So that gives me a lighter brown color, like a poopy color. Okay. That will be right there. See the beautiful brown color right there? And now I'm gonna do the same thing one more time. I have a little bit of blue left over here, and I added a tiny bit less of red than I did here. So I'm gonna grab it, mix it, and mix a little bit of this blue and carry some of this. And that should give me even a lighter brownish color. And from there, I'm gonna go ahead and add just white, okay? Right there. This shade is good for when you're painting warm settings. I like using these colors when you're painting like, you know, wood, and you want color in your wood. This looks beautiful. But, you know, everyone has a different style, so I can't tell you what to use these colors for. You know yourself, and you know what the colors you want to use these for. It could be a pink horse or an orange horse, whatever you want, you know. So I just added white, and I'm gonna go ahead and take this and mix it just with my white. And that will give me jumped up pretty quickly, so I'm going to grab the rest of this. There you go. So now I'm going to add it right there. As you could see, we're starting to get lighter there. I'm going to add a few more shades. Actually, let's do one more shade because you get the idea. So I'm just going to grab this lighter color and mix with my white here. And that will give me a lightest brown color. Right there. Okay. Cleaning out my brush. Right there. And that's how you create your brown color. And there might be different ways to create your brown color and different ways to create these shades, but this is kind of the way I've been you know, experimenting and discovering colors. So this, again, So this is also good for painting skin color, skin tones, and you can add, you know, a little bit more red to your lighter brown color here to you make the skin tone colors. I don't paint much of the faces and the people. I focus more on nature scenes and things like that. And since I have one more place to fill in a color, instead of doing basic black going into and adding white to gray, I decided to just experiment and add a little bit of red onto my black color. Sorry guys, I don't have space on my palette here, but I'm gonna mix this and we're gonna add white to it and add a little bit of red as we go lighter and see what color it gives us, okay? Okay, so this will be our darkest. Right there. And we're gonna add a little bit of red and white. Right there, so I added a touch of, there's red and a touch of white, and carry not all of this paint here, just a little bit, and just carry this with so that gives me this beautiful like cherry color, okay? We kind of started that on top right here, that cherry color, but I wanted to make it more interesting instead of just, you know, again adding just a gray shade, you know. Everybody knows how to do that. Just add a little bit of white and using the same technique as I showed you how to mix these colors. So we're gonna grab this, and that is gonna give us a lighter color right there. And then I have more white. I'm gonna grab this white and grab this shade here, and we're gonna mix it here. And just with white and the black and a little bit of red, that gives me this like a grayish purple color. There's different ways to create your purples, but this is another way, okay? You can see this is more bluish purple here. When you add a little bit of red and mix it with your blues, it gives you like a, you could see here, more bluish purple. This will give you more, like, almost like a grayish pink, dark pink cherry color going into light. That's what it looks like to me. So let's add a little more white. So I just added 2 more shades. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of this color that we mixed and bring it right here, mix it with my white. Grab a little more. Right there. And then we can go ahead and mix our second. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit of this and our other shade right here. Right there. And I'm gonna clean my brush. And then use this. As you could see. And then clean my brush again. And it's becoming lighter. And one more, just add white. And here I'm gonna just touch it a little bit because this is the lightest color. Right there. Clean my brush out and grab this lightest color. It almost looks similar to this pink color that is in right here above us, right? But it has that black shade, that gray almost color, because we added black. Whenever you want to neutralize, you add the gray color to your color palette and that will neutralize your colors. But if you're working straight off like this one, like we did here, red with the yellow and then adding a little bit of the white, as you can see, it neutralizes. But these are very vibrant because you're using straight out of the tube. You're not mixing white or black onto your paint. So then that's what gives you the vibrant colors, if that's what you're looking for. And of course you can mess around. I'm just gonna grab my yellow straight out of the tube and just put it right here. Okay, this is just straight out of the tube. And then you can just keep adding white and do the same technique here. So I grab a little bit of white, mix it with your yellow. I use this only when I'm adding like my sun or drawing the moon, or whenever I'm drawing, like let's say for example at night and I want like to draw like a fire, you know, a little campfire. This using this bright yellow really, you know, really helps. Just adding yellow and white. You can see it's getting brighter. And I'm gonna just grab this yellow and mix it with my brush right here. And even lighter here. And of course, here's more white. And just add more white to it, and you do the same technique. So I'm just quickly showing you. And it becomes lighter and lighter and just becomes white in the end. Right there. You can almost see that transition. But you know, you could do that again with any of these primary colors, and adding white, it'll really make it, you know, brighter. But that's how you do it with a yellow, and I use this for my sunsets in the beginning, going into the greens or the oranges, the pinks, and then going into the blues or the purples. That's what I do with the water as well when I'm drawing the water, kind of reflection of the sky. All right, guys, this is a quick, you know, some of the colors. Maybe I haven't showed everything, how I blend other colors. If you'd like to know a specific type of color, let me know down below in the comments, and I will do my best to get back to you and reply and share how I mix my colors. But I hope this was helpful. Please let me know down below. I want to make these videos as helpful as possible. So any advice, any encouragement really helps me as a YouTuber and a teacher here on YouTube. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope to see you guys next week, and be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for next week's tutorial. Take care and God bless.